I'll never forget being downtown in New York and seeing this store. Barney's was one of those iconic stores that made shopping into a cultural and sensory event. They gave off the feeling of glamour and elitism. Their flagship store in Manhattan boosted their prestige and established it as a luxury powerhouse by the mid 1990s. But while on the surface everything looked remarkable, some bad real estate decisions caused them to be drenched in debt. Fast forward to now, and you can only find the brand in Saks locations. So what caused an exceptional department store to close all their stores by 2019? Well, here's how. Okay, so I just finished letting the car warm up, and I'm gonna try to find parking. So here we go. The origins of Barney started when Barney Pressman decided upon his wife's engagement ring for $500. It was to lease a 500 square foot building on West 17th Street, Manhattan. This wasn't your traditional retail spot. By buying at showrooms, overstocks, auctions, and bankruptcy sales, Barney sold customers name-branded suits at discounted prices. Pressman focused primarily on menswear in the early days. From the Great Depression through the mid-20th century, Barney's was a single cut-rate men's store operating in Manhattan. But the shift came in the 60s. As Pressman stepped down, Fred took the helm, and his vision focused on stepping away from discounted clothing to luxury. With the help of European designers, he was able to change the model from an honest value store to one intending to offer selective clothing. And in the 70s, they broadened their customer base by adding women's wear and strengthening their ties with European brands who were trying to crack into the US market. So in a way, Barney's became this launch pad where designer brands could branch out, and they were tailor their store to these brands. They didn't treat them as fillers to pop up the store, but headliners who were strong cases for what menswear in America could look like. Given the groundwork they had, they dropped the apostrophe from the name and went on a pursuit of expansion. The first being a 70,000 foot women's store across the street from the main store. Another one in downtown Manhattan at the financial district. But they really struck gold in '89 when they formed a holding company with Japanese department store Ice Tan. I might have butchered the name, I'm not gonna lie. The Pressmans lacked capital and needed a tremendous amount of funds for their national expansion. Ice Tan came in for a minor stake in US stores and a major one for all Barney stores in Japan. And in return, Barney's kept a large part of ownership while also having an opportunity to expand in Japan's sophisticated fashion market. This allowed Barney's to become a household name throughout the 90s. Having prime locations in Madison, Chicago, and Beverly Hills made them alluring to customers. People wanted more, and whenever a business has increased demand, they tend to double down on what they've done already. But with the fast rise came a fast fall. It's fair to point out there was definitely tension between the brothers who was running the place. Bob was in charge of financing and was more conservative. Gene, who was more favored by his father Fred, was relentless at expanding Barney's. What seemed to be a mutual relationship with Ice Tan was nothing more than the Pressman family trying to get a leg up on their deal. Expenses soared before construction could really be made. Fred and Gene kept redesigning store layouts. Many stores was often behind schedule on building, and the warehouse stores they had did not make any profit because people in those areas just didn't care for high-end luxury. To add on to their financial troubles, they weren't paying their contractors on time. Some of the companies that helped build the store had to lay off some of their staff or go out of business because they didn't have any money. With Ice Tan being skeptical as to when they'd be repaid, they took control over the flagship stores and closed the ones underperforming. With the Pressmans out, a new CEO was installed and shifted the brand from its eccentric look to one of safer luxury. And throughout the 2000s, Barney's continued to expand, but modestly. Still haven't found parking. Oh, I found parking. Ownership kept changing, which diluted the brand. Customers sensed that and shopped at other stores. And even with a new CEO and partnerships with A-list acts, they still weren't able to turn things around. They struggled with their identity, and consumers turned away from the brick and mortar and more towards online. They filed for bankruptcy in 2019 and closed all their stores by 2020. Saks ended up licensing the brand, and to this day sells Barney's apparel. I'm trying to fit in the parking spot right now. But I'm not trying to touch the person's car. Gotta be very meticulous. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. In the words of Gordon Gekko, greed is good. But in Barney's case, it isn't. After getting capital to fund their expansion, they managed it poorly. They damaged many relationships with their investors and suppliers. They didn't think it would blow back. In this case, I think Fred's favoritism towards Gene shunned out the advice anyone else in position could have gave to Gene to make a second guess on his decisions. There's a theory in business that the third generation usually kills the empire. And for the Pressmans, that looks like what exactly happened. I was always wondering about this company because I used to see it back in the day, but now I don't. And reading the history and how businesses go out is just so fascinating. It just shows you what errors to avoid in any venture you want to do. Hence why I like making these business videos. So let me know if you have any thoughts on what made Barney's go out of business.